I am Eliziam and welcome to my channel. Last week, we were very excited to launch Scribble, the newest utopian community. Scribble is a writers, readers, designers, and editors community. And I'm so excited to say that we have already had some amazing signups. And it's not too late. If you want to be part of the first 50 early adopters who are beta testing the site, then you should check out the link below. Now, also last week, we asked you to spot the massive lie. And you know what? Only one person spotted it last week. That was Mel. So thank you ever so much, Mel. You have eagle eyes. And thank you also everybody else who commented. Thank you to all of the new subscribers that we've had for the channel as well. It's really wonderful to have you here. So this week, we will also have another massive lie. Stick it in the comments when you spot it. Once again, I am joined by my good friend and co-collaborator, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you so much for having me back again.
Well, to be honest, it's a good job you're here because this week we're going to be talking about some underpinning fundamental principles to the utopian philosophy. We're talking about co-collaboration and co-creativity. I think it's fair to say that these are very in line with embraining principles. We talked about that last week, and maybe even that they have been lifted directly from embraining philosophy. This week's video is all about co-creativity, co-collaboration, community. It's about competition, and it's also about commercialism. And one more C for that list, Christmas. So I was lucky enough to be in Dolgellau this weekend, and it's a beautiful market town, and every year at Christmas they decorate their shop windows in a Christmas style, and there is a competition to judge the very best window. So I had a walk round, and I was lucky enough to talk to the woman who organises this as well. So I want to show you this footage. Do you want to have a look now?
Yes. Yeah, I think it would be fair to make sure that we credit embraining and also to talk a little bit about Grant Soosalu, who created much of what we now see as embraining. He sadly died a few years ago, but before he died, he did an interview to give his vision for the future of embraining. He talked about how it wasn't just about betterment of ourselves and being the best versions of who we can be, but also about being collaborative, or co-collaborative, co-creative, and to create communities and to create the best versions of communities that we can, so to create a better world.
So
it's definitely, I'm looking forward to it.
I am in Dolgellau. This is a small market town in southern Snowdonia, and I'm here to have a look at some of the windows that they've got on display to celebrate Christmas. So I am lucky enough to have bumped into Sue, who actually organises the window displays. So maybe, Sue, could you tell me a little bit about why there is a Christmas window competition in Dolgellau, please?
I can. So we used to be involved in organising the whole Christmas late night shopping thing. So, which got very complicated, and obviously it's complicated even more over the last couple of years. So we kind of felt we would leave that, but we would carry on doing one thing because we like the Christmas window competition. Some of there's an awful lot of competition over it, and some people absolutely love doing it. So we felt like it was important that we carried it on, and other people could worry about the other things that happen on the night. So that's why. And yeah, it's just something nice. I don't know. We've been here 7 years in Dolgellau. Whether it was, and it was going on before that, there was a late night shopping before that and Christmas windows. So yeah, it's something that's happened in Dolgellau, and it's just kind of a nice thing. We've contacted papers over the last couple of years as well, so it's sort of, people know about it. And as I say, some people, some businesses take it very seriously.
I see.
Yeah.
And how I can understand that it's linked to the late night shopping event to try and bring the community in. And how is the competition judged?
Well, in previous years, it's been judged by notables, celebrities, well, local celebrities and things like that. But that kind of got sort of quite complicated. This year, we've simplified things, and we've got the brownies and guides judging it.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, so they're very excited about it. In the past, we've also had the public involved. But we have found that there's a certain amount of shops who will say to people, can you vote for us? Which is fabulous. But it's not always necessarily quite as, like Strictly Come Dancing. It's not properly, adjudicated. So we thought, let's get the guides and brownies involved. So that's what we're doing this year.
I get the feeling that it's a wonderful kind of community collaboration, really.
Yes, very much so. Because the businesses want to do it, and it's obviously something that's become sort of a little bit traditional, so they want to do it. And there's a hankering for what's the theme this year and things like that. So there is a lot of people around town who are interested in it happening in the community.
And what is the theme?
The theme this year is "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Basically, the poem in a loose way.
Okay.
So you will see a number of the shops have got "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" words involved in their window. But yes, and some people more loosely have done that.
And your display here at Dipsy Dragon is gorgeous. So,
thank you very much.
I'll be showing a photograph of that.
That's brilliant.
So that everyone could see. And I'd like to wish you the very best of luck, because maybe, even though you organise it, you might just win.
Well, we have one year we did judge it ourselves, so we couldn't win. So that's why we thought, no, get the brownies in, and then maybe we can win.
Fingers crossed.
So, absolutely.
Oh, and thank you so much for your time.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So there you go, Andrew. That was my trip to Dolgellau. What do you think of those windows?
They're amazing. I mean,
they're cool, aren't they?
Really amazing. I mean, even they're like rooms inside of rooms almost. There's a lot of effort gone into it. It's really impressive.
Yeah, you can see that they're all based around theme, can't you, of the night before Christmas, and so that's why many of them include the fireplace that you can see, but absolutely beautiful examples, and people have spent a lot of time and effort and care over making sure that their window looks beautiful. And the thing that struck me, because obviously I spoke to each person who'd done the display or who own the business, and they were really proud of what they created, and they were very happy for us to use those images and to talk about their example. So you can see that they're all trying to win the competition to be the best business in town. But I don't know, what do you think? Is that the only thing that's going on there?
No, I don't think so. I think friendly competition in this instance is being used to drive co-collaboration between these companies, so that together they can collectively be more competitive in the marketplace against perhaps digital shopping, online shopping. As we've talked about in the past, and as you've rightly said a number of times, especially since COVID, it's quite difficult to get that business back into the high street. We don't want to see these traditional market towns and their streets becoming empty and full of empty shops and closing down. We want to see them thriving and doing well and being part of a community. You know, we talk about community, and certainly growing up for me in a market town, the market centre of the town was the centre of the community. And now if I go back to that same town, most of those shops are gone, and either people are shopping online or they're shopping in the big shopping centres outside of the town.
It's true. There is a real issue with the high street, and you could take one opinion and say that decline of the high street is inevitable when people can get cheaper shopping and easier shopping in other places. But really, traditionally, that is the centre of our communities, isn't it? It is a commercial centre, absolutely. But I don't think that the only thing that we're seeing here is collaboration and competition for the sake of commercialism. I think that there's something more than that. I mean, when you said that it was the centre of the community, I think you're quite right. And actually, what they do is they link that Christmas window competition to a late night shopping event. So normally all of the shops are closed by 5 o'clock. The town is completely quiet. But this year, what they're doing is opening it on a late night shopping every week on a Friday night on the run up to Christmas, just to encourage people to come into the town and to do their shopping, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I was a kid growing up, I grew up in a little village in Lincolnshire called St James. And I remember I used to go to the newsagents on the way to school, Roof Rights, and they knew us. They knew who we were. They knew who our parents were. They would talk to us. They would make sure we were safe. There was a dairy next to my grandparents' farm, and we used to pop next door and get bottles of pop. I know that technically pop doesn't come from cows, but they sold pop as well. And, the same with the butchers, and you know, it really was. It's not just about commercialism. It's not just about these are shops where you buy things. You were all part of something more important, something bigger. You were part of a community, and it's important to remember that a community is not just a group of people who are there. And in the group, a community is a group of people who are engaged. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing these shopkeepers being engaged. They're being engaged with the community because they're giving the community something to look at and be a part of the Christmas story and part of the Christmas spirit. And yes, they're having a little friendly competition, but that's just driving the co-collaboration, driving them to be better maybe than they were last year. But for me, really, the competition is not between them. That's just driving the collaboration. For me, the competition is more, this is us as a group co-collaborating to compete against the other ways that people might be going out and doing their shopping.
I would agree with you. Okay, so on that note, let me show you the next video. So this is me visiting Corris, which is not too far away from Dolgellau. And actually, I travelled between the two by train, which was a very chilly journey. So have a look at this video of me in Corris. And now I am here in Corris. Corris is about 6 or 7 miles away from Dolgellau. And it's a small village. Recently it's become a World Heritage Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's famous for its slate. It's also famous for its beautiful buildings. I don't know whether you could see this gorgeous Tudor building here. It's the Village Institute. I've come here because they also decorate their windows for Christmas, and I'm going to have a walk through the village, and with people's permission I will take some photographs so that I can show you. Okay, and as you can see, Corris, they do something very, very similar. We're still looking at Christmas windows, and you could say that at first appearance, this is a very similar activity, but actually it's not quite the same. For a start, these are people's houses that we're looking at. They're not shops. Therefore, we're not talking about competition for and collaboration for the sake of commercialism. We're talking about something which is a little bit more community-based. What would you say, Andrew?
I think it's interesting because I think actually the mechanic that's going, and again, it's friendly competition, but I think the mechanics going on here are completely the opposites of what you would expect. So I think here what you probably have are community members that are quietly, but in a friendly manner, competing against each other to try and be the best window.
There are some beautiful examples though.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's actually going on. There is no prize for winning, and there is nobody who's going to come around and say, you've won, but I'm sure secretly there's a little bit of, oh, well, I think our window's better than their window this time.
I don't know. I don't know if that's competition or just enthusiasm. Like,
I think there's a little bit of, yeah, but it's not a bad thing, and it's driving those windows to be the best that they can be. And I bet each year they're a little bit more and a little bit more. But it's interesting because what you have there is you have a community that are engaged again. So engagement is the important thing. Remember when we're talking about utopian communities, whether they're physical communities or digital communities, and it's important to remember utopian is philosophy. It's not a digital thing. Yes, we have communities now we're building digitally on top of that philosophy, but they can be communities that are physical, like villages or whatever. And when you're in that instance, we talk about engagement, and engagement is definitely the key. For me, it's definitely the key of what makes a community, because if you have a group of people that aren't engaged, do you have a community?
yeah, I think you are absolutely right. I think maybe you have just struck upon a perfect definition for community, a group of people who are engaged together. So the thing that struck me going around and talking to the people who whose windows I took pictures of, because obviously I asked permission and let them know that I was making a YouTube video about it. They were also so enthusiastic and so proud of their creations, and they are quite right to be. They're beautiful. But they also told me that it's part of a bigger plan. There is another community event attached to this. So what happens is they are Advent windows, so that each person who is in the scheme knows that they have to prepare their window by a certain date, so that people can go and look at the new Advent window that day. But at the end of the period of Advent, everybody meets at the church on Christmas Eve, and then they walk around the village looking at the beautiful windows together, which is a really lovely, actually, idea for a community activity on the run up to Christmas.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can imagine mince pies and
I bet there's some mulled wine.
Yeah, mulled wine, glass of sherry, a few carols, maybe a nativity play from the children. This is a real community. It's people who are engaged and are doing things together, and that's what we want from communities. We want them to be co-collaborative, co-creative, because they're being creative with what they're doing, co-collaborative because they're working together to do things together, to create something that's bigger and better.
So actually, this does have some relevance to Utopian, and it also has some relevance in what we've seen in the activity on the Scribble community this week. Now, we have to try and contain our excitement, because actually this is really, really very cool. We spent a long time theorizing, philosophizing, and so seeing these things come to life is just the most exciting thing. We have had people uploading poems, stories, recollections, and then other community members are coming in to discuss those things that have been written down, which is part of the reason for having a writers community online, to give people the ability to come together and to share ideas and to share work and support each other. But also the way that this has been happening, I've been really, really exciting to see that my balance of salt and pepper has been gradually rising as I've been more engaged in the community. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think that in a way you're kind of almost looking at the village competition again, because what you're doing is you're having friendly competition. Now, I know I was talking to, I don't think you know this, but the index which shows the members, that's driven by engagements. The more engaged you are, the higher up you are in terms of the index of members. And I've even had chat with some of the members who are having friendly competitions to see who can be the highest up in the index. I mean, it's true, and it's a good example. In all the years that I've been involved in digital communities, what very often happens is you set up a digital community, you get a whole group of people who just come in, they create a profile, and they don't engage. So they're not really a community. It's just a website with some people in it.
Yeah, this is the cool thing, though. I checked the average length of time that people spend on a website is 45 seconds, which is nothing. Do you know the average time that people have been spending online on Scribble?
I don't, but I have a feeling you do.
I do, because I checked, is 22 minutes. Okay, now that is 22 solid gold minutes of people looking at stuff online, chatting with each other, coming together to form an online community. That's hugely powerful.
Yes, and the more people we add, the more engagement we can encourage and create, because you've got more people, you've got more variety, and you've got more different personalities, and it just enriches that engagement.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's just so exciting to see this community growing. It's wonderful. Another exciting thing that we've seen this week is a new development. We can now exchange our virtual currency, SALT, between individuals. And we did it for the first time. The very first transaction of salt and pepper took place. So, Andrew, tell us what happened.
We did a little bit of Christmas giving, didn't we? I sent you the first ever salt and pepper transfer by desktop, and you sent me the first ever by a mobile phone.
Yeah, bish. So we've sorted Christmas now. That's all. It's awesome.
kind of a good way of doing it.
Yeah. All I need to do is to get my family to sign up, and then I've definitely got my business.
Yeah, that might be a really good approach to Christmas shopping this year.
I think so. So we've got some other exciting things that are going to be happening. I know that you've been working hard writing packets for Show Albert to create. Would you like to tell us what's going to be happening next?
Well, we're building onto the payment system next. So at the moment, you can just make a transfer of an amount, and it's an immediate transfer. What we're doing is we're adding the ability to create schedules for recurring payments. So you'll be able to make a payment daily, weekly, or monthly, and in time that will be that will be included as something far more exciting around how you can make payments within the contract system that we've already talked about in the past.
Yeah. So this. Sorry, I jumped in on that, but I genuinely am very excited that this is only going to aid people to be rewarded for their collaboration. So, for example, if there is a writer who needs an illustrator, or even an illustrator who needs a writer, then the community, members of the community, can advertise that that's necessary, and then when somebody agrees to do it, they can agree a price between themselves and then transfer that once it's been complete. So at the moment, that's quite a loose arrangement. But as you say, in the next couple of weeks, the contract is going to be prepared, which will include different stages, if necessary, and payments that will be released at each stage. I mean, this is just, it's a phenomenal tool. So really, really well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, we're looking to plug the whole payment system into the concept of collaborative tools within the work in progress. So writers talk a lot these days about WIPs, or works in progress. But the work in progress might just be a writer with some goals, but it might be a writer working with an editor, working with an illustrator, working with a book cover designer, and they might all have various different tasks, and those various different tasks might trigger payments. And you know, at the moment we are purely doing this with salt and pepper, but we are entirely a hybrid platform, and we want to be fully inclusive, as you know, and we will be tying these payments into anything you want. You'll be able to pay with Apple Pay, with crypto if you want to, with ordinary currency, whatever way you want to go. So it will be an incredibly flexible collaborative tool for anyone from the publishing industry.
It's amazing. And we should point out that it's not just about writers, that we are ready to make our next Utopian site. And last week, I mentioned that the first 5 signups that we have for another utopian setup will have a 50% discount, because that's the way that Utopian works. It's free to join, it's free to take part in, but if you want to make your own utopian community, then there will be a charge for setting up that platform for you. So what else do we need to say before we finish this video? The massive lie. Andrew, last week's massive lie. Are you going to tell us what it was?
Yeah, I can do if you want. So I've never been a royal biographer, not yet anyway. So yeah.
No, but I mean, clearly you would be a very believable one, because only one managed to spot that was the massive.
I was a bit shocked about that, to be honest. I thought everybody would get that. Yeah, no, I've not any connections with the royal family. Well, maybe.
Okay, so this week's massive lie, I think it will be obvious to some people. I'm looking forward to spotting your comments in the comment section below, or anybody else who wants to stick it in the comments, please. Let us know what you think. Of course, there are all the usual ways of getting in touch. Underneath, you will find a link to Video Ask. So that is a service that we can video chat. If you want to get in touch in that way, please do. There are also links to our social accounts down there. So feel free to give those a click. There is one more thing that I need to say. Thank you so much for taking the time to like, subscribe, and put the alert bell on so that you never miss an update. And if you like this video, don't tell me, tell your friends. I'll see you next time.